Hello and welcome. You are now looking at Aweber.com, and Aweber.com actually allows you to build and manage an email marketing list. Now, if you don't have an Aweber account, you'll come to this page at Aweber.com, and then what you'll need to do in order to get started is to put your name and email address into the box in order to start a 30-day free trial. Now, if you currently do not have an email marketing list, you will start at Aweber at $19 a month after the 30 days is over. However, if you're going to be moving your list into Aweber, then you are going to be priced according to the tier that you're going to be on, any place from $19 a month up to $149 a month, and then once your list size is beyond 25,000, then Aweber will determine that on an as needed basis. When you get started with Aweber, you are going to have to put in a credit card in order to get started because they're going to want to be able to bill you at the end of the period. And of course, you'll need to decide whether or not you're going to be billed monthly, quarterly, or annually. There are some price breaks if you do so quarterly and annually. Finally, they're going to have you agree to their service agreement. You are going to want to read that for your own information. So now once you've read through the service agreement, you can then sign up for Aweber. Aweber will give you a login and password, and then what you'll need to do is to put that login password in order to log in. Once you are logged in, you will then be ready to start creating lists for your online business. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now in this video, we're going to start the process by creating a list. And what you'll do is you will go inside of your Aweber dashboard. You will go to click the link that says Manage Lists. And what you'll see here is you'll see a green button that says Create a List, and you will go and click that button. Now in most cases, Aweber will pre-fill information in here, but you can actually change this information. So if you are going to be operating under a specific brand, you can go ahead and write that brand in here. So let's go ahead and do that now, as well as the company website. Now Aweber requires that you put a return address in your emails. They will pre-populate that information based on what's in your billing. Now, if you want to use a different address, you'll need to click this button, and then you'll need to change the information. Once you do that, you will then write that address in, and then you will save the information. Now, Aweber is going to ask you what sender name and email address that you want to use. And in general, what you're going to do is you're going to write in a sender name. And when you write in the sender email, you want to avoid using emails like Hotmail or Gmail or Yahoo. You want to use a server address email or an email address that you created with your domain name. Now, another thing that you'll want to do that will enhance your deliverability is you want to make sure that this sender email is not something like admin or support. You don't want to use generic names. If possible, you want to use a proper name. There is going to be another step based on the email address that you're going to put here, specifically if you're going to be using an email that you have control of through your domain name. But now, once you have all of the information in, the address you're going to be using, as well as the name and sender name, you can go ahead and click Next Step. Aweber will require you to give your list a name, but typically your customer will not see the name of this list or this explanation unless they choose to unsubscribe. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to describe the list and then give it a name, and we're going to keep it brief. As you can see here, you can only use 400 characters. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so once you've done that, you are going to then click Next Step. Now, Aweber has certain pre-approved subject lines, and you can use any of these subject lines that you feel is going to be most appropriate. Now, they will allow you to request approval for a custom subject line. Now, once you actually write the subject line in, Aweber will take time to approve it. In the meanwhile, what they'll use is they'll use one of the default subject lines that are at the top when you first sign in. So we're going to go ahead and click cancel so that we can see these back, and we're just going to choose the first one. Now we can also make changes to the confirmation, and so what we can do is we can then make sure that this message, or this part of the message, says what we want it to say. Now we want to keep this part brief. We don't want to make this a long, drawn out paragraph. We want it to be brief so that it spells out exactly what your client is going to be getting when they sign up for your email list. In fact, you'll notice here that this says receive email from manage your list with Aweber. We might want to restate that to be a little more natural. Okay, but again, we don't make too many changes and we don't make that very long. We can also insert personalization. So in other words, one of the things that we can do is we can actually add in information that will personalize based on the information that is collected. So when your client actually comes and they sign up for your list and they use their first name, we can actually customize that information so that it says their first name, and then they'll see the message. So all we would do here is we would click one of these buttons, and this will actually personalize the message so that it will say the person's first name and then give them the actual message. And this can sometimes help you with issues of deliverability. But again, that's optional. You don't have to do anything with this information. In fact, you can decide to delete out the information. Click the edit button. You'll notice that that personalization is no longer in this space. We can actually edit the signature, and we can put in here a salutation or title. And then once we've done, then all we'll need to do is then we'll need to click this approve message button, and then we will then be creating our list. Now, the only thing that really needs to be confirmed will be this subject line if you choose to change it. So we are actually approving the message and then creating the list. And once you've created the list, you'll notice here at the top that Aweber will be working on that particular list, and all of the menu fields that we'll be working with will apply to the things that are going to be associated with this one list. If we want to change the list that all of these menus are going to be associated with, all you have to do is use this drop down arrow, and then you can choose the list that you actually want. Okay, so we have now created the first list, and we will now move on to some of the menu items. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now that you have created a list, you can now import users from another autoresponder into Aweber, so that if you have previously had an autoresponder account with another company, you can take those same leads and bring them into your Aweber list. So let's take a look at how to do that. Now, even though every autoresponder company is different, we are going to take a look at GetResponse, and we're going to take contacts from GetResponse and we're going to move them into Aweber. And the way that you do this in GetResponse is you'll go to the contacts area. You will then click search contacts. You'll then click view all contacts. You'll then click the specific list, and then you'll click search. That will then narrow down all of the contacts that you're going to move into a file and then move into Aweber. So once you have this list inside of GetResponse, you'll click the actions, and then you'll click export. You'll then write a file name, and then you'll click the export button. Once you've done that, GetResponse will give you the opportunity to then click a download button to get your file. Now that your list has been moved, you can now go back to the Aweber dashboard. What we're going to do is we're going to import that list in the CSV file into the list that we have just created inside of Aweber. We can do that by going to the subscriber area, and then we're going to go and click add subscribers. We're going to take a look at this button that says import more than 10 subscribers. We're then going to click this button and then grab the file that we created from Get Response. Aweber will bring you to this screen, and you'll be asked whether or not you want to import subscribers from a file or into your subscribers manually. Typically, what you're going to do, if you're going to be bringing people over from another autoresponder and you have a fairly big file, you can then click to browse and then go and grab the file from your hard drive. Now, the most important thing is that you match up the name and email address fields. And then what you'll do is you will then move to the next screen inside of Aweber. And you do that by clicking the next button at the bottom of the page. Now, Aweber is going to want to know how you brought the list over. So in this particular case, you're going to say yes, you brought it over from another email provider. You're going to choose the email provider here. Once you do that, then what you're going to do is you're going to click this button that says they signed up with you, or you'll choose the appropriate section. So in this particular case, we're going to go ahead and write in the explanation, and then we're going to click Next. Now, Aweber will ask if you want to have a follow-up message sent or if you don't want to have one sent. Now, in this particular case, we're not going to have one sent, but you can opt to have one sent if that is what you want to do with these subscribers. We're going to click No, and then we're going to click Next. Now, you can decide whether or not you want your subscribers to opt in again, or you can decide not to. In this particular case, we're going to say no, and then we're going to click Next. Now, what you can do in this case is you can actually have these subscribers tagged, and this is an identifier inside of Aweber. You'd be able to reuse this designation in other cases. So in this particular case, we're going to write in affiliate. And then we're going to click Finish Import. Okay, so once you have done this, then it's going to take some time for Aweber to actually go through the process of looking at your list to see if it is acceptable for them to bring it into your list. You can always check your history by going to this Import History page, and we can take a look here. Now, in some cases, Aweber will tell you right away if you've had subscribers added and then how many were actually not added. They'll actually give you a breakdown here in this link. Okay, so then you'll have a number of email subscribers that have been added to your list, and you can then start to market to them using Aweber. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now going to work with the settings on our Aweber list that we just created. And so in order to do that, we're going to go to the List Options drop-down menu, and then we're going to click List Settings. And you'll recognize some of these settings from a previous tutorial. Now you'll notice here that we have the list name, and then we have a unique list ID from Aweber. Now, anytime that we have to interact with an API or some kind of system that requires our Aweber information, we will use this Aweber unique ID. So one of the things you can do is you can actually put this in a place where you're going to remember it, or you can always come back to your Aweber list options in order to get this unique list ID. Now, the other thing you're going to notice is that all of your information, including your contact address, is going to be here in your list options. Now, the reason that that's important is because it is going to appear inside of all of your autoresponder emails. Let's take a look. We are now inside of Gmail, and what you're going to notice is that at the bottom of this Aweber email, you'll see the unsubscribe link, you'll see the change subscriber options, but you'll also see an address. And this address is going to match the address that you have inside of your Aweber settings. So this is where that information is going to appear inside of every email that your client actually gets. You're going to notice that there is an area that says notifications. And this is a way for you to get a notification every time somebody is actually subscribed to this particular list. So if you want to write in a contact email address that will tell you you have a new lead you can actually do that. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and write in an email address so that we'll get notification every time someone signs up. Okay, so now we've added that notification here inside of Aweber. So let's see what that's actually going to look like when an email actually comes. To test this, we're actually going to go to the Add a Subscriber area, and we're going to actually put in an email that we are going to be able to see right away. And typically you can see emails right away inside of Gmail. This is actually a good way of being able to test something in your list. You typically want to subscribe to all of your lists so that you will be able to see what your client is actually getting. So we're going to write an email address in here so that we can tell what our clients are going to see. Okay, so now we have an email address in. We're going to click Add Subscriber. Now that subscriber has been added to our Aweber list, we can now go to our email address. Okay, so now we're going to confirm our subscription just as our client would. You'll see what the email is actually going to look like. And then we're going to click this link. Okay, our subscription has now been confirmed. We are now part of our Aweber list. So now let's check Aweber to make sure that we have a new subscriber. And we can do that by going to Manage Subscribers. And we now see that there is a subscriber in our Aweber system. So now what we can do is we can check our notifications to make sure that if there is a new subscriber to this list that we would have actually received a notification. And we can actually see that we have notification from Aweber. So all we need to do now is we need to check this email. And we'll notice now that we have a new email that was added to our list. Aweber also tells us the source. And this is how you can actually monitor your leads as they are actually coming in. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to pick it up from the basic settings, and we're going to now go to this link that says Personalize Your List. Now you'll recognize the company branding that we did when we set up the list. You'll recognize the website URL. Now we didn't write an email signature in here. Now let's go ahead and write in an email signature as well as to upload an image into the logo area. So now that we have our branding in place, what we can now do is we can now start to customize our broadcast archive. We can do that by first connecting with Twitter. And what this button is going to do is it's going to allow us to connect to Twitter so that our Twitter followers will actually get a copy of our broadcast as we send it out. So all we have to do is click this Connect with Twitter button, and it will integrate with the Twitter account that we currently have open. Now if you are already logged into Twitter, all you'll have to do is click this Authorize app. If you are not currently logged into Twitter, you will need to connect to your Twitter account in order to give access to Aweber so that it can connect with the app. So we are now going to go ahead and click this Authorize App button. And so now our Twitter account is now connected to our broadcast archive. We can do the same thing using Facebook. And you'll see a button here that will allow you to click and then connect to Facebook, where you'll have access to all of your pages to actually publish your emails to your Facebook account. So when you click this button, it will connect to Facebook. What you're going to notice is that you will have access to all of the pages where you are an admin. Now, this will only work if you're already logged in to Facebook. And obviously, if you're not logged into Facebook, when you click that connect button, you'll need to log in. Once Aweber connects to your Facebook account, it'll pull in all of the pages where you are an admin. If you will not be using your broadcast on those pages, you can actually go in and you can X them out. So in this case, that's what we're going to do. We're going to X out all but one page that we'll be using for our email broadcasts. And once you have that connection, you're going to want to make it your default Facebook post. So what will then happen is that you will have the opportunity inside of all of your broadcasts to post them automatically to this Facebook page. Now there are a couple of other settings that we'll want to take a look at for our broadcast archive. Now what we can do in our broadcast archive is we can actually include some place where someone can sign up, as well as our Twitter link. But before we do that, let's take a look where this link says preview your archive, and then we can get a better sense of what a broadcast archive actually is and how you can use it. And you'll see here that the email broadcast archive is a page that's hosted by Aweber that will have a number of your broadcast emails. And you will be able to determine which of your broadcast emails actually go into this broadcast archive, and you'll actually see that in a later video. But this broadcast archive will allow others who are not part of your email marketing list to read your content and then to be able to sign up for your email. They'll also be able to follow you on social media and to subscribe to you by RSS. Now the last thing we're going to discuss in this video is your being able to have a look at what your unsubscribe page is going to look like. And this is what your clients will see when they decide to click the unsubscribe link in your email. You'll be able to see what it looks like based on your branding. So again, now you can see where your client will actually see your list name and your description. So keeping this in mind, you can write your description accordingly, knowing that someone will actually see it when they get ready to unsubscribe. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in the list settings area, you'll notice that there is a section for global text snippets. And global text snippets are going to be pieces of code that you're going to be putting inside of your emails that you use on a regular basis. So for example, let's say that there is a domain name that you use repeatedly throughout your writing of emails. Well, what you do is you'd write a snippet for it. And the way that you do that is you'd designate the snippet, and let's go ahead and write in one now. And so once you add in that snippet, all you need to do is you need to click the add button. Now this snippet will now be available to you inside of your emails so that you will be able to use it. Let's take a look. As we are drafting our email, we would come inside of our text area. We'd then go to the personalize area. And you do that by looking all the way to the right hand side, and you'd click the drop down arrow. You'd scroll down and you look for your snippet. And we'll see the snippet that we created. And then what will happen is when our email is actually sent, our domain name will appear there because we've actually placed the snippet code here inside of our email. What this does is it helps us to save time and effort and to focus on the message of our email. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. In our list options and our list settings, you'll notice that there is one other section, and it's called the confirmation message section. And you'll recognize that we have already customized our confirmation message when we started putting together the actual list. But if you scroll down, there is actually more that we need to do. And you'll notice here that there is a section for confirmation message settings. Now, Aweber recommends that you use double opt-in because it is the best to make sure that you are going to be able to assure deliverability of your emails. Now, you could choose to turn off your double opt-in confirmation so that the client could actually sign up for your list without having to confirm. And all you need to do is to turn off. Aweber is going to give you a warning, and then you're going to click yes. You could easily toggle that back on by clicking the on button. Now, you can also turn on the confirmation message for the times when you actually import subscribers. And this is going to be the default setting when you get subscriber imports. You can turn that on, or you can toggle it back off. Now, when you go through the import process, Aweber will still give you the opportunity to send a confirmation message when you're going through. Now there's one more item on this page, and you'll notice that there is the confirmation success page. Now what some marketers will do is they will actually show their client, when that confirmation email link is clicked, something that they would actually want them to see in order to make a purchase or make a decision. You can actually determine that by putting a URL in this space. Now there is a default success page, so that when your client actually confirms their acceptance of being on your list, they will be sent to a specific page. You can actually take a look at that page by clicking this link. Now, as you can see, all this page says is thank you for subscribing. So if you wanted to place a commercial message of some kind, or you wanted to make another sale, you can actually customize your thank you page. And you can do that here in this space. Now, one of the advantages of being able to host your own success page is to personalize the page. And what you would do is you would click this button, and then you get the JavaScript code that Aweber gives you in order to place on your page. Aweber will give you the code to place before your header tag, and that code would be here. You'd need to copy all of the code. And if you scroll down the page, Aweber will give you more code. And wherever you want to display the person's name, you would place this HTML code that you're looking at here. Wherever you'd want to place their email address or customize with it, you'd use this code. Now again, you are going to have to know HTML coding in order to use these scripts. But if you know them, this is a great way of being able to personalize the actual thank you page. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we are going to go over the custom field setting, and you'll find it by going to the List Options menu and then clicking Custom Fields. Now a custom fields setting is for each individual list. So for the list that we created, we can create a certain kind of information that Aweber will store and that we can collect on any particular web form that we have when we create one. So for example, we can collect an address, a phone number, and we can create any kind of field that we want based on our business. So in this particular case, we're going to create a custom field that we will use in a later sign-up form. Now, one of the things that we can do is we can give our subscribers the opportunity to update this information when they actually go to their subscriber options. So this would allow your subscriber to actually go back, even if they didn't have the opportunity to sign up with their birth date. They could change their subscriber options after the fact. So we'll click Subscriber Update, and then we will click Add. So now what we have is we have a custom field that we'll be able to add to any of our sign-up forms when we create them for a customer's birth date. And we can continue to add fields up to 25. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we are going to set up our list automation, and we can do that by going to the List Options menu and then clicking on List Automation. Now list automation allows us to move people between lists when certain actions happen. And this is a very easy way for us to be able to segment our list. We can subscribe members to certain lists when they subscribe to a list. We can unsubscribe members from a list when they subscribe to a list. And we can basically control these actions by creating an automation rule. Now you can see the automation rule by clicking the down arrow. And these are all of the automation rules that are available to us. We can unsubscribe a person from this list when they subscribe to a certain list that we already have. We can unsubscribe someone from this list when they unsubscribe from a certain list. We can subscribe someone to this list when they subscribe to another list. And this is a great way of being able to get people onto lists when they take certain actions. Now, creating a rule is as simple as determining which list you want to interact with and then setting the rule. So we can have someone unsubscribe from this list when they become part of a certain list. Now, this will be of particular use to us when we automate the process of putting someone onto our email marketing list when they actually make a purchase. So that if someone is part of the list that we're on, and this happens to be a prospect list or a new introductory customer list, we can have that person removed from that new introductory customer list to a more focused customer list when they purchase a certain product. This allows us to market effectively. And we can do that all inside of our list automation. So once we determine the list interaction, all we do is click the Save Automation rule. And then we have the rule in place. If we decide that we don't like the rule and it isn't working the way we'd like it to work, we can actually go to the Delete button and take the rule out. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now going to go to the Reports menu, and we are now going to take a look at the settings. And what you'll notice is that the settings are actually the analytics setup. And this will allow you to track your activity to your email so that you'll be able to tell what kind of email you sent that caused sales, what kind of emails that you sent that caused certain activities. And this is a very good way of getting intelligence on how effective your email is. Now, there are a couple of steps in order to get analytics set up on your site with your email. Now, you'll notice here that step 1, Aweber talks about the premium analytics and the suite of features. And the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to copy this HTML code onto every page that you like to track. So in other words, wherever you want to track activity on your site, you'll need to copy this code and then place it inside of the body tag. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to copy this tag, we're going to right click, and we're going to copy, and then we're going to head to our website. Now, Aweber instructs you to put that JavaScript code within the body tags. Now, if you were to use one of the popular web page builders for WordPress, which is OptimizePress, you would put that tracking code in this area where it says after the body tag, and you'd place this here. What you would do then is you would then click Save Settings. Once you did that, it would be time to head back to Aweber. And then you'd click the Continue to Step 2 button. Once you did that, you would want to then write in the web address where you actually placed the analytics code. Once you had the web address, you would click the Add button. Now, Aweber is officially tracking website clicks on the site where you placed the web address. Now, what we want to do within Aweber, and it gives us the opportunity to do, is to track sales, and we can do that by putting in a goal web page. Now, after website clicks, what you'd want to do is you'd want to track sales. So you'd want to place in this space a page where your client has to go one time after they have completed a sale. Now, you'd write in the goal description once you did that. So you'd pick up a page in your website that is a thank you page that your customer would visit one time. So in this case, we might select a download page that your customer would actually visit. And then we take the address of that page and we'd head back to Aweber. And what you'd do is you'd place the page in the goal page URL. You would describe the goal. And then you would track the particular event inside of Aweber. So you can track sale, CPC, CPM, or a page hit. And you could determine a particular monetary value for the page once it had been hit. So in this particular case, we can track a sale. We can say that the monetary value of hitting that page is $17. And then we can click the Add button. When you're tracking sales, you want to try to get a page that your client will visit one time. In verification with Aweber, if a customer visits this page twice, it will actually be counted twice. And that might throw off your monetary value. So you do want to keep that in mind. Now, one last area that is optional, but you'd want to actually place here, would be making sure that you want your IP address to be ignored in the statistics. And you can do that by finding your own IP address. And if you go to the website, what'smyipaddress.org, you will be able to find out what your IP address is. You can actually place that inside of Aweber. Once you've gathered that IP address and you've written it in, you can actually click Add. And you can add any number of IP addresses that you think will actually throw off your stats if you were visiting the pages where you are actually tracking goals. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You are now looking at the Reports tab inside of Aweber, and what you'll notice is that in this Reports tab, if you go to the Reports tab and you go to the Individual Reports link, that'll bring you to the Reports dashboard. And there are two sections of the Reports dashboard. You can look at your account overall, or you can look at the individual statistics for one particular list, which is the one you have enabled in the right-hand corner. Now, if you look at your activity in any particular area, you can look at the data, or you can look at it according to individual leads. You can also look at it in detail if you click this link. You can look at your accounts over time, or you can look at it on a particular day, as you can see here. You can do the very same thing by looking at your account in aggregate in the Account Reports area. Now, if you want to look at the account's revenue and what your email is giving you over time, you are going to need to track activity and set goals. So when we set the analytics or the settings area in the Reports tab, you will need to make sure that you are tracking the activity based on revenue goals that you set in the Reports settings area. This is how Aweber tracks your revenue inside of your reports, bringing it down to the detail level with individual leads, as well as detail down to the day. But again, if you don't track the revenue from inside of the settings area on each individual page, you will not have any detail for account revenue over time. That is the only way that you're going to be able to get it. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We will now look at the sign-up forms, and you can get to the sign-up forms by going to the Sign-up Forms tab and clicking this link. Now, when you first reach the Sign-up Forms tab, you can actually click this button, which will take you through a wizard. We're going to go ahead and we're going to click this green button to create our first sign-up form. This is actually going to bring us to a screen where we can actually design our own opt-in form using the templates that you see here, or a plain transparent template, which you'll see here. You'll also notice that there are fields, and you'll notice that we have a field that was created earlier in our custom fields area. So if you wanted to create another custom field, all you need to do is to click this button, create a new field. It's the same field function that we found in the list options. Now, this template builder will allow you to preview each form as you build it, so that if you want to know what your form is actually going to look like, you can click this preview button. Now, if you get this error message, that means then that you have pop-ups blocked, and you'll need to enable them in order to see your preview. Now, in Google Chrome, this will mean going to the right-hand side. You'll need to click this button, and then you'll need to click Always Allow Pop-ups from Aweber, and then click Done. Once you've done that, you can then click the Preview button, and then you'll see your form there. You may still get the message to appear again, but you'll be able to preview your form. When you click the message inside of Aweber, it goes away. Now each element of your sign-up form has detail that can be changed. For example, you can change the detail in the header by clicking this link, and you'll notice that you can change the background color or the border, and you can even go into some of the advanced options to put in images and to pad some of the margins. And each individual field will have this kind of detail. We can do detail for the body, and you'll notice that you have the same options available. You can look at detail for labels, which in this case would mean you can change the font on the text, make it larger or smaller. You can look at detail on the inputs, which is actually what goes into the text boxes, which you can control again using advanced options. You can actually change the detail on the links. You can also change the detail on the submit button. Now, one thing you'll note about the submit button is when you click the advanced options, you'll notice that Aweber is using a certain button image. If you'd like to use a different button image, or you'd like to use a button image on your page, you can actually do that by putting the address of that button in this link. You can look at detail in the footer area. And once again, you have all of the images that you can actually have available to you, as well as margins and spacing. You can take out elements in your form by going to this top bar. And for example, if we want to see the form without the header, if we want to see it without the footer, if we want to see it without the privacy warning, if we want to see it without powered by Aweber, we can actually do that. And once again, we can always check our preview to see exactly how our form is going to look. We can close out, click the message, and the message goes away. Now to go back to the other menu, we will want to go back and click Form Type, and then that'll bring us to two other aspects of the design of the opt-in form. And you'll notice that this form that we're looking at right now is considered to be an inline form. We can actually look at a different form, and we can look at a popover. And again, we have all of the options available to us in order to change the popover. We can also preview the popover. And we can do that by clicking the preview button. And you'll see how the popover is actually going to look. We can also do a light box. And we can preview the light box to see how that's going to look, which darkens the entire screen and saves your opt-in box so that the visitor can see it. We can also do a pop-up. And once again, this is how your pop-up will look over the page. We can change the width of the overall form. And it can be smaller, or we can actually change it this way also by using the handles. Now, once you've determined how you want your opt-in form to look, you're going to click Go to Step 2. Now, when we create an individual form for an individual purpose, we'll want to name that form. We can actually do that here in the basic settings. It's quite possible that we'll create a form for this list, but for a different purpose. And we'll be naming that in a different. So we will go ahead and name this form, and we can click Save. Now we are going to stop the video at this point, and we are going to come back, and we're going to finish step 2 of setting up your form. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now at step 2 of setting up our sign-up form. And what you're going to notice is that there is a thank you page that you get to customize. And this thank you page actually appears as soon as your client types in their name and email address. Now we can preview that page so that we can actually see what it looks like. And it is instructive to do because you'll want to determine which of these thank you pages that you actually want. Now you will see that there is a basic version, and you can click the preview button to actually view it. And so you'll recognize that your logo is there, and then you have some verbiage that says you're almost done, activate your subscription. We can actually change that now to the audio version. And to do that, we'll just go to this drop-down menu. And to look at the audio version, we'll go to look at the drop-down menu. We'll click audio version, and then we'll click preview.
In a moment, you will receive an email message asking you to confirm your email address and activate your subscription. Please check your email inbox now. Open that email and click on the confirm link. Once you do, your subscription will immediately be activated.
So now if you want the audio version, you can actually have that audio playing. And there is another version that we can look at. It is the smart video version. And we can preview that version now.
Please check your inbox now to confirm your subscription.
And the last way that you can actually do it is you can use your own custom page. So if you want to customize your thank you page, you can actually make it so that your customer will then see what you want them to see. Now remember, the most important part to this is that they go and confirm their subscription. This is not going to be the place where you want to do any marketing, with the exception of using your logo for your brand. Now you'll also notice that there is an already subscribed page, and all this does is when the client is actually trying to sign up for your email marketing list, they will be shown a message that says that they are already subscribed. And like the thank you page, you can customize your own page and place it here in this link. Now there are some advanced settings, and we'll take a look at those right now. And we can determine for each individual list how we want the follow-up messages to start. Now these are the messages that are going to appear automatically in your client's email box if you have them set up. So if you don't have any auto-responding outgoing messages set up, you don't have to worry about this. Now if you're going to be putting JavaScript code on your thank you page, your custom thank you page, you can actually have the form pass information so that you can personalize that page. This would allow your client to see their name and or email address on the thank you page when they sign up. And it is a way for you to be more effective in getting them to actually see the value in going to get what you've promised them when they sign up for your email marketing list. Okay, so that is all for step 2. We will now go to step 3. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now ready to go on to step 3, and we'll want to save any changes that we made in step 2 by clicking the green button. That will save our form, and then we're going to click go to step 3. You're going to have a section where if you are comfortable installing your form using HTML, you can click this box. If you're going to have your web designer or coder install your form, you can actually send them an email through this link. And if you're going to have Aweber host the form on their site, you can actually do that also. So we're going to start by looking at the first choice, which is I will install my form. Once you open the install my form link, you'll see that there are two sides. You'll see a JavaScript snippet and a raw HTML snippet. Now let's talk about the two snippets. Now the JavaScript snippet, when you take this code and you place it on your website, any changes that you make inside of Aweber will be made on your website automatically. So you don't have to make any changes in the code in order to change something that happens in Aweber. That is not the case if you place the raw HTML code. The HTML code you use, if you make any changes in Aweber, you're going to have to come back and get the code again to have those changes reflected on your website. Now another difference inside of the raw HTML version is that you'll notice that there is a box here that you can include beautiful form styles or you can uncheck them. And you'll notice that the code actually changes. Now in some cases when you're testing or when you're just trying to get a form to work, you should use a basic unformatted form, and this will put the basics onto your website in the code using the form that you create inside of Aweber. Now if you do want the additional formatting that Aweber offers, you can actually use the beautiful form styles. So we're going to now close the install my form box. I'm going to open up the My Web Designer Will Install My Form. And what you'll notice is that all that's here is your designer's email and a message. So what this will do is this will allow you to send a message to your designer with the code so that they can put it onto your website. Lastly, you'll see here that there is a box here that says have Aweber host my form. And what you have is a URL that you can actually have someone come to in order to opt into your list. So for example, if we were to copy this link and then put it inside of our browser, let's take a look. And you'll see here that the form is on the web and we don't have to host it. We don't have to use any code. All we do is share the link and then someone can actually opt in to our list. So we're now going to close. We've now covered all the ways that we can place our form on our website. Now let's go to an actual WordPress website to see how this is going to actually work. So what we're going to do is we're going to install the form ourselves. We're going to grab the JavaScript snippet. We're going to copy it. And then we're going to head to a WordPress website. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the side of WordPress where we post HTML code. We're then going to put in our code. And then we're going to give this post a title. And now what we're going to do is we're going to publish this post. And we're now going to view our opt-in form on our website. And you'll see the form now on a post inside of our WordPress website. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now going to talk about one of the main integrations you'll be using with your Aweber account. And what you'll notice is that at the very top to the right, there is a link that says My Apps. That link will take you to all of the applications and online websites that will connect to Aweber and integrate into their service. Now, we are going to talk about that in a later video, but right now we want to talk about the connection between Aweber and one in particular, which is PayPal. And we can integrate into PayPal so that every time someone purchases something through our PayPal account, we can actually have that person added automatically to our email marketing list. And so in order to do that, we're going to click PayPal in order to get started. We'll then want to click Integrate with PayPal. We'll then want to click this Enable button. You'll then need to grant permission to Aweber inside of your PayPal account, and you're going to click Grant Permission. That will bring you back inside of Aweber, and you'll be required then to go through a few more steps. What you'll want to do is you'll want to go to the Instant Payment Notifications page inside of your PayPal account, just as the instructions say here. You're then going to click the Choose IPN Settings. PayPal will then require you to put in an instant notification settings notification URL. You'll then copy this notification URL, and then you will paste it in the box inside of PayPal. You will then click the Receive IPN Messages, and then you will click the Save button. Then inside of the PayPal integration, you're going to choose the list to add people to when they purchase a certain product. Now, because you're likely to create multiple products, you will probably want to check this box that says, I want to add people to different lists when they purchase specific items from my store. So go ahead and click this link. And then what you're going to do is you're going to choose the product, and then you're going to choose the list. Once you've done that, you are going to click the Add button. And then you will have an integration so that whenever a person purchases this product from you with your PayPal button, they will then be added to your Aweber list. And then every time you create a product, you'll want to come back to this integration and then continue to add products to different lists inside of Aweber. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. It's quite possible that you are already working with a web service that is already connected to your autoresponder, or if you use Aweber, it's already connected. Now, in many cases, those integrations are direct. Affiliate networks, social media platforms, shopping carts, all of them have direct application and integrations with Aweber. However, in some cases, the integration is not as direct. And when that is the case, you'll see something like what we're about to showcase right now. For example, if we want to integrate GoToWebinar with Aweber, we would click this link. And we would find that this integration actually happens through a third-party company called Zapier. So to start this process with GoToWebinar in Aweber, just as we would do with any other app that uses Zapier, we click the Enable button. This will actually take us to the third-party site Zapier. Now, Zapier has both a free and paid account, and you'll have to determine how much you'll be using based on the pricing. But you'll be able to see the potential integrations with GoToWebinar as well as Aweber. For example, you can add GoToWebinar registrants to an Aweber mailing list. So in other words, someone signs up for your webinar, they get automatically added to your Aweber list. Someone signs up to your Aweber list, they get automatically added to your GoToWebinar. So you'll have to choose the integration that you actually want, and then you'll need to get started with Zapier. And in this particular case, Zapier says you'll need a GoToWebinar account active and an Aweber account. That's going to be the case with any integration you do. You're going to need access to the services that you're going to want to integrate. In this case, we're working with GoToWebinar and Aweber. We're going to click Create this Zap. Now, GoToWebinar and Aweber require a premium trigger. So at some point in your process, you are going to have to pay Zapier in order to have this trigger happen. But we're going to click Continue. Now Zapier is going to require that we log in to GoToWebinar. Now we'll come back to Zapier once we've logged in, and we're going to click Continue. Now you're going to have access to the account that you are now logged into, or you can connect a different GoToWebinar account. You want to click the Test button to make sure that your account is actually working with Zapier. So go ahead and click the Test button. You want to make sure that you have the green Success button, and then you'll click Save and Continue. You'll then select a webinar and then click Continue. You'll then want to click Fetch and Continue. Once you click your test and you'll see that it's successful, you can then click Continue. So the Aweber action is going to be to create a subscriber. We're going to click Continue. We're going to test or connect an Aweber account and then click Save and Continue. So we've chosen our account, we've now chosen the list, and now what we want to do is to click Continue. So we want to test the system through Zapier, so we'll click Create and Continue. We've actually already added this email to the list, so we'll skip the rest of the test and then click Continue. Now because this is a premium service, Zapier is going to look for a payment at this point. You can pay monthly, or you can pay annually, or choose to upgrade your account in order to continue with the integration. Now, this integration is premium through Zapier. In some cases, your integration will be direct. If you must have the integration, then Zapier will be the easiest way to have that integration done. And if not, and you want to just do it manually, you can do it that way. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.